Let's bring in right now former CIA officer Mark Polymeropoulos. He's an NBC News security and intel analyst. He's out with a new piece for NBC News titled "The GOP Needs a Counter-Radicalization Strategy."
Perfect timing for this conversation.
Well, it's great timing, you know, Mark. Though, but they're different degrees, right? They're the people that are ready to launch a civil war, and there are people who live quietly in neighborhoods who, again, have dehumanized their political opponents, and I suspect it's happened on both sides. I'm sure if Ted Cruz one of Ted Cruz's family members got attacked, there'd be a lot of people on the left that didn't feel a lot of sympathy for Ted Cruz's family as well. This is a problem right now. Yes, it's a much larger problem on the right because you would have every Democratic leader criticizing that attack against. And I don't want to bring up his name again because that's really sort of unfair there. But any Republican, right? And just a lack of humanity. But the difference is that Democrats would join hands with Republicans and they would mourn the attack against the Republican like they did with Steve Scalise. Right now you have Donald Trump going around and Kari Lake going around mocking an 82-year-old man almost being killed by having his skull cracked.
Getting wild applause.
And getting wild applause for it. So how do we deprogram? Well, why don't you just speak to those people who laughed and applauded when Donald Trump did that?
Sure, Joe, and I think that you all hit the nail right or the nail right in the head in the opening before.
Good expression
in the
to use,
sense
Mark.
of there's a dehumanization.
I saw you got halfway down that expression, going, "Where do I go?" You were in a cul-de-sac and you had nowhere to go. But go ahead.
But there is a demonization of political opponents, and it's particularly prevalent on the Republican side. There's a normalization of violence and violent rhetoric, and that has to change. Michael and I have talked about this on some previous programs, that the only change, the change has to come from within the Republican Party. And in my career at CIA, I saw countries that had problems with radicalization, and the change always came from within, and that's really important. We can sit here and talk about this all we want, but until the Republican Party admits there's a problem, nothing will change. And look what happened last night with Donald Trump calling Nancy Pelosi an animal. I mean, I was horrified. I wrote the piece for NBC Think, and in 24 hours after that, I was subject to all this kind of crazy right-wing hate mail and rhetoric. A different cable network wrote a piece that I was actually advocating for CIA terrorism measures to be used on conservatives. That's crazy. All I was saying was that.
Hold on a second. What cable news network did that?
It was Fox. Fox came out with a piece that said I was advocating counterterrorism techniques to be used on conservatives. That's not what I said at all. What I said was the Republican Party has a problem.
Who was the writer at Fox News that said that?
It was on Fox Digital, and my phone blew up then with all sorts of hate mail, which again goes to show, it affirms my point that the Republican Party is not ready to just admit there's a problem. It's okay to admit that, because violence is, as you said before, it's against kind of the foundation, the principles that we all grow up with. But they're not ready right now, and the last 24 hours have certainly shown it, certainly Donald Trump's comments last night.
And Michael, why aren't they ready?
Joe,
do they have to lose a couple more elections? What do they have to do?
I don't even know if it's about, for the establishment types, the remnants of that, the folks inside, and Mark and I, as he said, we've talked about and tried to noodle this through. I think we've gone beyond that. I think this is an infection that has run so deep. It is years of frustration and anger. It is the remnants of the old Southern white male strategy inside the GOP that goes back to the early and late 60s. There's a lot of stuff roiling inside here, and the interesting thing for me was to watch how readily the leadership let go of it, let go of control of keeping the party aligned. You're a student of history. You know what happened when the John Birch's rose their head up inside the party in the late 50s, early 60s. The leadership pushed back on it. They
Right.
pushed it down. We've seen time and time again between a Bob Dole and a John McCain, a George Bush Sr., leaders stand up in the party and reorient its moorings around
what about
democracy.
W after 9/11? He
Exactly.
went to a mosque and he said there is no place
Exactly.
in America for anti-Muslim rhetoric.
And that does not happen today because listen to what Republican leaders are already saying about Ukraine. Listen to what Republican leaders have said about Putin. So the reality of it is something far worse inside the party has taken hold of it. And I don't know if an election clears that out. I think this runs deeper than, oh, yeah, we lost the House or we didn't get the Senate. There's something else going on there that's making it hard. And you know, good Republicans like yourself have said enough. Crazy ones like me are like, okay, keep the porch light on for just another day. But the reality of it is we're beyond that. And I think Mark's piece touches exactly on the thing we have to get at.
Coming up, live reporting from Pennsylvania, Florida, and Wisconsin. Plus